Well, good day. So, for today, we're gonna talk about the first cartoon appearance of one of the heavy hitter villains of Marvel Comics.
And that would be Galactus!
Oh, and his little buddy Silver Surfer. But yeah, alright, let's go!
So, we start off on a beautiful day. Kick back, relax, not a care in the world. And then the world went completely squirrely, like crazy stuff, right? First, there are two suns in the sky. You know, it's like we're on Tatooine or something, eh? Looking for power converters. Secondly, the Earth is surrounded by asteroidally space debris, and it's mind-boggling, right? How is this happening? Reed Richards, you know, the smartest guy on the planet, he can't figure it out. So who could tell us?
Well, the Watcher can tell us. That's who.
He's this guy who observes all of existence, you know? So he gives the Fantastic Four the Fantastic 411 and tells them what the what. Basically, the Watcher surrounded the Earth with asteroids to hide the planet because the Silver Surfer is arriving. If you don't know who the Surfer is, he is the one who serves Galactus,
The devourerer of worlds.
and Silver Surfer points out these planets to Galactus. And the Watcher does not want Earth to die, so he tried to hide the planet. But what a horrible hiding job, man. Like, the Silver Surfer found Earth like no problem, right? And stopped in front of the Watcher, you know, basically out of spite.
I guess that's why he's called the Watcher and not the Doer.
Yeah, thanks for the attempt, though, I guess.
Suddenly,
Silver Surfer sends the signal to Galactus. Our planet is screwed! So the Thing, you know, being all pissed off about this, went all clobbering time and knocked out the Silver Surfer cold. But it's all too late because Galactus shows up on the rooftop in his fancy spherical spaceship.
meanwhile,
Invisible Girl notices the fist-to-face recipient Silver Surfer knocked out on the ground, and she decides to help him. And it's a good thing that she did, you know, with her fantastic nurse-like bedside manner, she helps the Silver Surfer regain consciousness, and she teaches him the importance of, you know, human beings, humanity, compassion, you know, all these kind of things. And it's a really good thing that she did this because she basically deprogrammed Silver Surfer and convinced him to fight with the Fantastic Four against Galactus to save the planet.
also,
So the Watcher has a new plan. It better be a good one because he's 0-1 in the planning department right now. So his plan is that he needs some fantastic out-of-this-world device which exists, but like, you know, basically
beyond this universe.
so he sends the Human Torch to obtain it by having him travel through space-time distortions. And it also looks like a really bad acid trip that I had in the 60s in a past life
That still haunts my soul to this day.
But the Human Torch's destination is Galactus's space house
To obtain this special world-saving
device.
While that is happening,
Galactus is almost finished building his Earth removal machine, but thankfully, the Silver Surfer decides to protect Earth and goes toe-to-toe against Galactus, which, I assure you, you know, is pretty crazy. These are two beings that are battling each other using pure energy, you know, shooting it at each other, and you might think that city blocks around them would be completely destroyed in the wake of this battle, but thankfully, you know, not even a brick is out of place. Nothing. Even the shots that miss, you know, don't hit anything, so yippee hooray.
another suddenly,
Human Torch returns to Earth with this device, which is
the ultimate nullifier.
in the wrong hands. It has the power to destroy galaxies, if not the universe, and Galactus is freaking out. He's scared stiff. This galaxy-destroying device is in the hand of a human who cannot possibly comprehend the magnitude of this device. Hopefully the safety is on. So worried is Galactus that he agrees to leave the Earth alone, you know, forever if he can just have this nullifier back. Which he does. So he gets the nullifier back, he gets rid of the Earth removal machine, and he breaks up with the Silver Surfer. never to see him again, and he'll probably write a song about him like Taylor Swift does. But yeah, man, other than that, the Earth is saved! And all these spacefaring folk, they take off and leave the planet alone. And with that is the end of this fantastic tale!
Woo-wee! That was an awesome episode! Like, man, Galactus, hey, what a world changer!
Literally and figuratively fictionally.
Like, holy crap, like, the stakes could not be higher for the Fantastic Four in this episode, and fighting against Galactus, like, that would have been a really awesome series-ending episode, right? Like, really go out on a high.
But it is just another day for the Fantastic Four.
But, like, geez, like, what a great story! So this episode was based on some of the comic books, and, like, man, in the comics, like, the story of this, it really highlighted the whole doom and gloom of the situation, how it really is the end of the world, right? In those comics, they actually show how the world will be destroyed and what it would look like, really to give the whole story a lot of gravity. But in this episode, man, they really toned it down for that, right? Which makes total sense, man. It's a cartoon for kids. You really don't want them, freaking out about the end of the world or anything, right? And the ending of it was pretty awesome as well, I do got to say. Some stories, Reed Richards will save the day by creating a device, that just perfectly, ends any kind of danger, But for this one, with Human Torch having to jump through hoops and time and space to go to Galactus's house and get that one device, actually a pretty fitting ending.
The lengths the team will go to save the world.
Couple of things I found pretty funny in this episode, like, let's say, for one, if there was a giant ape in New York City that climbed on top of the Empire State Building, there would be police force, there would be the army, there'd be the Air Force, like, everything trying to stop this thing. But if you were a giant alien that came from out of this world to destroy the entire planet, apparently the Army, Navy, and Air Force, they all have the day off. Not even a news helicopter. Like, you'd think this would be a bigger story. So that was kind of odd.
But at the same time, quite amusing.
And, I really like at the end of it, like, it was even in the comics that, Galactus is not a bad guy per se, right? The dude's just hungry. We could have offered him another planet, like Venus or something, Mercury. Heck, even Pluto, because from time to time, it might be a planet or it might be not a planet,
It would save us from a whole lot of debate. Also, dare I make a joke about Galactus eating Uranus? It would be gassy.
Either way, day is saved and episode is awesome. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I strongly suggest you do so, man, because it's wicked awesome.
And with that, let us go see what else we can find out about this episode.
So yes, indeed, Galactus, Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four, man, like what an awesome story, right? So, this episode is based on a 3-part story in the comics that took place in Fantastic Four number 48, number 49, and number 50 in 1966. The Coming of Galactus, also known as the Galactus Trilogy. And like I gotta say, man, the cartoon is actually pretty accurate to the comic book story. Well, like the core of the story, right? Like, you're talking a story that spanned 3 comic books being crammed into 20 minutes, for a cartoon episode. Some aspects of the story are gonna, get cut off and go by the wayside, right? So let's take a look at some of the differences between the comics and the cartoon. So, for one, the second sun in the sky. It was kind of a blip that kind of happened in the cartoon, but in the comics, that second sun basically caught the sky on fire. Well, visually anyway. The atmosphere wasn't burning, it was just around the Earth, right? But still, like, people freaked out, and Human Torch tried to see what was going on, but people were actually blaming him for it. Because why not, right? That's what you're supposed to do in an apocalypse. One of the bigger changes was that, when the Silver Surfer was knocked out and being nursed back to health, in the cartoon, it was Invisible Girl who kind of helped him out and taught him about humanity and the importance of life on this planet and stuff like that. But in the comics, it was not her. It was Alicia Masters, the Thing's blind girlfriend, right? She wasn't in this series, so you had to kind of replace her somehow, and yeah, I guess they did a pretty good job. And another little tweak is at the end of the story. So Galactus basically cuts ties with Silver Surfer, right? In the episode, they just go their separate ways. Surfer can go back into space and fly around. But in the comics, Galactus basically punished the Silver Surfer by confining him to Earth. Never again to fly the cosmos until, it happened later on. But for a while, man, yeah, he was pretty much Earth-bound. But realistically, these aren't really massive changes, and all the things that were cut out of the comic book story in this cartoon, didn't really have to be there, I guess, to tell the story. All the main components of the story were still intact, so actually really good and faithful adaptation of it. So good job there, Hanna-Barbera. I guess for other differences, it's Galactus, right? Between the comics and cartoon, his appearance, like he is colored completely differently in his uniform and everything. Not sure why. Maybe, being kind of green-skinned alien made him look more kind of evil, for the kids. I don't know. But still the same basic design. So let us get to the origins and the backstory of Galactus and the Silver Surfer. So, the two comic book legends of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were once again, co-creating these two fantastic characters. And in their time of creating characters, they've created a lot of villains, but they wanted a villain that was like so much more than anything they have created already. Not just a villain who wanted all the riches in the world or, to take over the world or anything like that. They're like, we gotta go bigger, right? Some villain that seems impossible to stop. So Jack Kirby got a lot of inspiration from the Bible. Like the Book of Revelations, the end of days and all that kind of stuff. But also for the character of Galactus, it's like, he thought it was pretty cool, the whole concept of like a god and had a herald speaking for him and stuff like that. So that's kind of the basis of where they created Galactus from. So not quite a god, but a cosmic being. And his herald of the Silver Surfer is like, the fallen angel type, right? So they went with that kind of theme and added a whole bunch of technology. And boom, you got Galactus and Silver Surfer. So at the time of the release of this episode, the origin story and the backstory of both Galactus and Silver Surfer were not out in the comic books yet. So basically, when you were watching this episode, all you really knew is that there was some big guy came to Earth and was hungry, But eventually, their backstories were flushed out. So let's start with Galactus. His original origin story was told in The Mighty Thor number 169 in 1969. So basically, he was a mortal from the planet Ta, and his name is Galan. So apparently in his spaceship, he got too close to a star and the radiation engulfed the ship and basically killed everybody on board except for Galan, who somehow the radiation transformed him into Galactus. And that was kind of the story, of Galactus for a while, but his origin got rebooted. It was retold in Supervillain Classics number 1, Galactus, The Origin, in 1963. So in that one, long story short, so again, there was a mortal named Galan from the planet Ta. He lived in the universe that existed before the universe we live in now, which was the 6th incarnation of the universe. So when his universe was collapsing, he merged with the sentience of the cosmos, and boom! Galactus was born! And so powerful was he that he was able to survive the big crunch of that universe and the big bang of our universe being reborn, and he is the sole survivor of the previous universe. And so powerful is he that he needs planets to eat to survive. That's actually a pretty cool origin story, you can't get much bigger and better than that, right? So his herald, the Silver Surfer. So for this character's concept, like I say, Jack Kirby kind of took inspiration from the Herald of God, for Silver Surfer, but Stan Lee was, kind of noticing that in pop culture, surfing was becoming a really big thing across the country. Like Beach Boys, Surfing USA, stuff like that. So he's like, man, we gotta get a surfer character, which fit perfectly, for the Silver Surfer, right? So yeah. pop culture meets the Bible.
The Silver Surfer.
Much like Galactus, first appeared in Fantastic Four number 48, but his origin story was explained in Silver Surfer number 1 in 1968. So for him, we learn that his name is Norrin Radd, and he came from the planet Zenn-La. Galactus came to Zenn-La to devour it, but Norrin was able to spare the planet by agreeing to become Galactus's herald and become the Silver Surfer with the power cosmic. So his plan really was to find planets that were, uninhabited, didn't have any life, But Galactus didn't care about that, and he basically kind of brainwashed Surfer to just, find any planet suitable, right? Regardless of life on it. And that's pretty much the skinny of the Surfer. So, Silver Surfer, Galactus, they're obviously joined at the hip, in every introduction that they have, whether it be comic books, whether it be cartoons like this episode, or whether it be the movies. But, yeah, I kind of rambled a bit, but, that's kind of the way it goes when you're talking about Galactus, so I'll cut it kind of short. So, yeah, with this, that, those, and the other things, man, I guess, that's that. Also, if you guys are interested, I created my own superhero show, and I have the first episode out already.
The Adventures of the Density.
So if you guys would like to check it out, I'll have a link above here and a link at the end of the video for you to peruse there. Yeah, right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, feel free to do so. Or anything else, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, have a great day. Thanks.